Well, good morning, my Teaser King family. How's everybody today? I hope you are well. I am fine. What the hell is this? Look at gold. It's 39.95 goes down to 39.65, and then at 10 o'clock, where it's supposed to go down, it goes up to 4,000. Again, this is paper. This isn't real. So we just kind of have a good laugh at it, going. But I'm going to play some videos where these people are just idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. One girl actually made a comment about paper and physical, but she's wrong. So it's when people finally do figure it out and they still get it wrong, what are you supposed to do? So I'll play Mark McGwire today. He had a pretty good video on it. This other girl who thinks paper and physical, she's a Keynesian. I don't know. She doesn't know what she talks about. I listen, and it's not like I'm rooting that they're Keynesians or I'm like, I'm trying to listen to see if anybody's good, like Egon and Mark McGuire. I listen to them, but I start being open minded and listening to these other people, and they're fucking clueless. So I pointed out, like a Rick Rude, like a Jim Rickards, like a Andy Scheckman, they just don't understand. They are salesmen, and that's what they do is sell you, and they talk a lot about nothing, and you just laugh like, what's wrong with these guys? And they don't even learn. They don't try to learn. They don't understand what they're talking about, but they don't know they don't understand, and that's really the critical part. My glasses, I don't know what happened to them. This thing came off in the pool, and I tried taping it. It just doesn't go in. Anyway, I'm getting a new pair. I got to go to the store. It's near the pool, and I'll try to get a new pair and try to get these. These were fixed to a point, but I don't know what happened to them. Anyway, so we're back to baseball picks after the All-Star game. I didn't see much yet today, but there was a lot of TBD pitchers. I was surprised Scanes and Mizorowski weren't in the All-Star game. I would have bet the National League if they played, but it's so hard now because that's each pitcher goes an inning. I remember when it was used to and it was good. Nolan Ryan would pitch the first 3 innings, and then whoever would pitch the next 3 innings because they're actually trying to win. Now they don't care. And that's the problem with most sports now. They don't care. They're there for the paycheck. And it really sucks for people like us, although the betting's fine. So, football, we've been going through a couple conferences. We did the Big Ten and the SEC. Yesterday, we did the Big 12 and the ACC. So it's the Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, ACC. Today we're going to do the AAC, the American Conference, the Navy, Army, Tulane Conference, and we'll do the new Pac-8, which should be good. And then we got a Sun Belt MAC one, and then a Conference USA. It's crazy. There's 135 teams now because I think who was Sacramento State joined and North Dakota State joined, so they won't be winning Division II anymore. They all go. It's funny. They all go to Conference USA, which is a mess because half the teams are new and half the teams are Division II, and they go into that. We'll have our baseball picks. Those of you buying baseball, so are you buying today, or are you going to wait till Monday or Sunday, whatever? It's a revolving 7 days. So whenever I had a few people that were out of town and they weren't able to gamble out of the country, which is fine. I mean, and then we got our football. So what should we start with? Let's start with baseball. And then we'll go into football, and then we'll go into Mark McGwire. All right. See, this is my bitch about electric cars. I can't, if I tried to use my laptop for 2 hours without the power, it would not work. 2 hours for a laptop. You're driving an electric car, you gotta be nuts. It's not gonna hold 3 hours. You're gonna be charging it every day. Who needs the inconvenience? Normally, when you come up with a new product, it's a convenience, right? Instead of a landline, we got cell phones. Okay, it's a convenient. I can talk to Daria in Russia. I can text. I can look at the internet. So it's a convenience. So I don't need the landline anymore. But there's no convenience to getting an electric car. There's none. There's not. I'll have to charge it after about 4 or 5 months. I'm going to have to charge it every day. Don't I have better things to do than charge my car every day when I could fill up the car on Monday, and a week and a half later, fill it up again? I don't have to worry about it. All I need is gas in the car. Okay, so roughly 4,000 gold, 55.67 silver. A lot of it's being pushed down by China, and then whatever this mess is at 8 o'clock, this push down, but then immediately come back up. What the fuck is that? That's just options. So somebody shorted because they knew it would go down to 39.65, and then they sell and they make $30 on the option. And then somebody bought it at 39.65, knowing it would go back to 4,000, and they'd make $30 on the option. So they're in and out real quick. But nobody's asking for delivery except for China is. All right. Let's go to baseball. So again, I sold my 2/4 ounces of an Eagle gold for roughly about 1990, and it was like 4,060, and so I got roughly $1,000 a quarter, which was about $2,000 for the half, which is extremely low considering where we know it's going. But again, I needed the Monopoly money. That's what I told the guys. I need Monopoly. I ran out of Monopoly money. That was pretty funny. Okay, let's look at baseball. 135 game. Today's Friday. I don't even think it's a full slate. Tampa Bay goes to Boston. Boston 136. All right, obviously this can't be right. 4.5. Let's assume it's. If it really is 4.5, well, let's go to Yahoo and see if this is really 4.5. I will just go over if it's 4.5. I don't even have to research anything. Now this is 8. The Rays and the Red Sox is 8. Yeah, this is 4.5. So it's 136 and 8. Jacks again. Now I got a question. Covers their lines. Jacks 280. Bennett 268. Let's look at Jacks. All right. Today is 7/17. It was just July 4th, right? Soon it'll be September, and we'll start with football, right? I mean, it's crazy. Time flies. So enjoy. All right, Griffin Jacks has won 4 out of his last 5. A couple overs, couple unders. His last 6. 1 run, 2, 2, 3, 3, and 1. So he does give up a few runs. He pitches 5 innings most of the time. So he's a 5 innings guy, which means you got relievers for the final 4, which means what the fuck? I don't know. Jake Bennett, Jake the Snake, he's won his last 3. His last 5 have been under. His last 6 have been 4 runs, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0. He doesn't give up runs. So his last 5 under. Jacks with the 280. Some over, some under. Couple of 3-run games are pretty good. All right. So we will start. So we will go and assume the 8 is the thing. Obviously, 4.5. If you can get 4.5, go over. But I don't know what this is. This one seems normal. The Dodgers at the Yankees. The Dodgers 106-9. The Dodgers got a break in that they were able to go fly to New York a couple days ago and not wait till playing and then having to get on the plane. So they won't be as tired. Sasaki against Cole. Sasaki 5.33 against Cole 4.04. Now we have to reset everything. These guys have had 4 or 5 days off. They need to get their timing in. Probably a little bit more unders than overs. Hot hitters have got to start over again. So we will see what they're up to. But it's sort of like football. The defense has the advantage over the offense because the offense is timing. This is always what hurt Peyton Manning when they would clinch the division and they'd be like 14-0, and then they wouldn't play the last 2 games, get the bye, and then they'd lose the first round because their timing was off. You can't sit 2 or 3 weeks and keep your timing. You have to just keep going. It's like golf. You can't. Golf's all timing. You can't just go golf. You got to get your swing down. And that's what this is. So the pitcher, it's easier for him to throw, but the hitter's timing is going to be tough. So we'll see again, Roki Sasaki, a Mr. Fuji guy. Nothing. A few overs. Need to get a new box of Kleenex. You get a box and you go, and then it runs out, and you're like, what the fuck? All right, Sasaki. Hey, John C. Well, football, baseball, Mark McGwire. It's a busy day. Sasaki last 6, 7 innings shutout, 4 innings, 7 runs, 5 innings, 3 runs, 3 runs, 6 runs, 3 runs. So he's losing it against the Yankees, and I don't know when they get their players back. They got injuries. Garrett Cole's been injured, came back. It was actually, May 22nd, and he's pitched 10 games. Hasn't done well. He's 1-3 his last 4. He's gone under his last 4. His last 6, he's given up 2 runs, 5, 4, 2, 3. And what did we say with Suzuki? Is he under or over? And he's been over. So we got an under against an over. It's at New York. Garrett Cole, who's been okay, and Sasaki. I'm sure we'll have the salt out, throw salt in the batter's eyes tonight. I'm sure Mr. Fuji will be there to manage. It's a tough one because it's a an over versus an under, a 9-run total, and yet the Dodgers are favored 106. I kind of like the Yankees. If they're going to make them a dog at home, Suzuki's not going to do much. But we'll have to see what they do. So I'm going to watch this game, but I think it's a Yankee game, but you hate betting against the Dodgers because it's not because Shotani, it's because they got 7-8 good hitters and they could erupt anytime. But then you see them lose 3-0. You're like, they got all these hitters and they lose 3-0. All right, Pitt and Cleveland. Cleveland 123, 7.5. Jones 437 for Pitt and Gus Williams 382 for Cleveland. Jared Jones. Win some, lose some. A lot of overs. Last 2 unders. Last 6, 2 runs, 5-1, 4-1, 0. He's kind of all over the place. So I don't know. Very inconsistent. Gavin Williams. I prefer Gus. Played on the Seattle Supersonics. He lost 3 in a row, and then he's won 3 in a row. Couple over, couple unders. Last 6, 4 runs, 7 runs. Gave up 2, gave up 3, gave up 3, gave up 2. So he will give up runs. All right. So here's your free pick. Let's go Pitt. And we're going to go over 7.5. We'll keep it at 2 units. Now, I know I warned you, Cleveland plays a lot of under games. But because this is so low at 7.5, and it's not like Jones is this, it's Scanes. I'm shocked Scanes isn't pitching today. He haven't played since Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's 5 days. Scanes should be pitching, but probably tomorrow. Yeah, go over 7.5. Pitt can hit. And I just told you, yeah, the hitting will take a little bit of time, which I agree with, but it's 7.5. It's such a low number. So let's go over Pitt 7.5 against Cleveland. Gus Williams is giving up a lot of runs, and Jones 437. So Cleveland should hit. Yeah, I mean this should go over, but we don't know. But it looks good. Today's a hard day. Tampa and Boston. I got Tampa Englert against pitcher to be determined because this is game 2 of the doubleheader. Game 1, Jackson against Bennett. So we already bet Jacks against Bennett. This is game 2. Who the hell knows? I hate betting game 2s until you see what happened in game 1. The White Sox at Toronto. We got Toronto minus 126, 8.5. We got K for the White Sox, who was hot and then it's cold, 4.28 against S. Miles. Never heard of him. 7.20 for Toronto. This looks like it should be an over. Anthony K. He's wearing a Cubs hat, and he's on the White Sox now. A little confused. Now, he pitched in 2023, and then he hasn't pitched in 24 and 25, so he's obviously injured. This year, 19 games, 17 starts, 4.23 ERA, nothing to write home about. He's lost his last 3. He's 2-5 his last 7 after being red hot. A lot of overs. His last 2 have been under. I've seen that pattern a little bit where they're hot and they're giving up a lot of runs, and then they're starting to get better and have unders. And even though they still lost 2-1 and 4-3, his last 6, 2 runs, 4 runs, shutout, 5 runs, 1 run, 2 runs. But the 1 run was 4 innings, and the 5 runs was 2 innings, was a 5 innings, a 3-inning 5 run. So he's only gone 4 and 5 innings. So he's not, there. Spencer Miles for Toronto. They must hate getting paid in Canadian dollars because that's 3/4 of what they get in US dollars. Win some, lose some. Here we go. Okay, so this Spencer Mile has gone over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a row. However, he's a bullpen guy. So his last 6, it was 2/3 of an inning, 1 1/3, 2 2/3, 3, 4 2. So he does have a high ERA for a bullpen guy, but he's going an inning. They're 126, so I don't know who their pitcher's going to come in the second or third inning. The White Sox K goes 4 innings. So this is fucked because you really, again, they're going with the bullpen guy. I don't understand. This is the first game back after being off for 5 days. You got to go to a bullpen guy? Are these managers trying to win is the question. I mean, I like Toronto, but I can't play Miles. I like the over, but Miles is only going to be there for an inning. Give up his 7 runs, and that'll be it. So you got to pass because you don't know who you got. Texas and Atlanta. Atlanta minus 202, total of 8. It's Quantrell for Texas, 2-1-2 against Chris Sale, somebody we can recognize with the 2-2. But when you look at Cantrell, his low ERA, but he's pitching 2 innings, and then his last 3 games, 4 innings shutout, 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 1 run. And he's went from 30. I don't know what kind of bullpen guy this is. So he goes 2 innings and pitches 40 pitches. Is he a bullpen guy, a long reliever? Now he's starting. He pitched 80 pitches his last game. They beat Houston 7-3. They lost to Detroit 3-0. 5 innings. He gave up 3 runs, but a pretty good bullpen. They seem to have a pretty good bullpen. Before this, he had lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, but he's just pitching 2/3 of an inning, 2 innings. So we don't know what we got here. Well, let's see. I thought he started before. Yeah, in 2025 at Miami, he had a 5.50 ERA. 2024, he had a 5 ERA. 2023, a 5 1/4. So this guy's been on Cleveland, Colorado, Atlanta, Miami, and now Texas. 19 games, he started 4, 3.11. So we know his ERA is higher. Goes against Chris Sale. Okay, we know Chris Sale. We don't need any. So we believe Quantrell has a 5 ERA. He's been in relief a lot. I don't care who Texas goes to. They don't have anybody except for Jacob deGrom, which they would start Jacob deGrom if he was starting. But Chris Sale, we know. So there you go. Miami at Milwaukee. Milwaukee 143 in 8 games in Milwaukee. Sandy Alcantara 402 against Larry Henderson with a 3-2-1. This game will be affected by those fires. I walked out yesterday. I didn't even know the fires were there because I'm in here and I really don't have a good view. I got trees and a forest behind me. And I got out to my car and I thought somebody's burning, a fire burning, but nobody's going to burn leaves in July. You burn them in September. So I said, maybe there's a fire around here. And then I drove to the club to swim and it was still there. And it was just this hazy gray sky and you could smell the fire. And I looked it up and there's these huge fires in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario. And I'm kind of going, how the hell are we catching Saskatchewan and Manitoba? And the wind was very negligible. It wasn't a big wind. So and then I read up on it. So it'll be affecting Milwaukee, Minnesota, Chicago area, Detroit. I don't know if it goes down to Ohio or not, but it should have an effect on this game. Now, I don't know how long it'll be there. We are supposed to get rain this weekend, which I don't know. Hopefully that'll drown the fires and everything. Let's see. So, Alcantara. Wow, he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's 7-1 his last 8. His last 6 have been 3 runs, 4 runs, 1 run, 5 runs, 1 run, 3 runs. Pretty much is going to give up 2 or 3 runs. Henderson from Milwaukee. I don't know where Mizorowski's at. I think they're just giving them. I think they're giving these guys a little bit of rest since they had 5 days off. They're probably giving them another start off to get ready for the rest of the year. Logan Henderson's won his last 4, but 3 were in May. He did win his July 9th, so it's impossible to look. This guy went over 5 innings, 3 runs, 76 pitches, but that's it. His in 2025, he was in 5 games, had a 1.78 ERA. So we really don't know. 3.21's a lot of May stuff, but he's only pitched 1 game in June, July. Alcantara's been pitching well, 8-1 his last 9. I have no idea because I don't know what Henderson is. So do we bet the game under? Do we bet the game? Do we bet Miami? Too much unknown. It's a very weird day today. Some weeks when I tout football, some weeks I say these are pocket aces. I got really good matchups. I got KC as a dog. I got Joe Burrow in an over. And then some weeks I don't have anything. It's like KC's on the bye and Denver's on the bye and Cincinnati's playing a tough defense, so I can't bet them over. And it's just so some weeks you get a good week. Today's a tough day. The Cubbies, 136 and 10.5. They should get hit by the fires also because it's all Canada. Bailey over 4.44 against Colin Ray 4.68. Should be over. The over's 10.5. The wind must be blowing out or it wouldn't be. God, this Bailey over is 6'9". Holy Christ. Why isn't he playing basketball? See, in basketball, being tall is a huge advantage. That's why I don't understand Winnebago guarding 3-point shots and shooting 3-point shots. You have a huge advantage being 7'4", 7'5". You can block all the shots. You can get all the rebounds. You can make little baby hooks, and that's it. I mean, you have a huge advantage at 7'4". But in baseball, this guy 6'11" has no advantage at all. I mean, he's a pitcher, big deal. It's not like he shuts out everybody. He's not like he's Skanes or Mizorowski. So I don't really. This guy should be playing basketball. He's in the wrong sport. Nothing over under his last 6. 5 runs, shutout, 3 runs, 4 runs, 8 runs, 1 run. So this guy's all over the place. Really, he pitched in May and then he didn't pitch in June. So it's another one of these. He pitched July 9th. 5 innings, gave up 1 run against Cleveland. They lost 5-2 anyway. So again, you can't do much with Ober. And Colin Ray, let's see what he's up to. Hello. I've been noticing on my phone, my internet's been a little slow. So I don't know what's going on with that. I know in Russia, Daria can't reach me a lot because her VPN doesn't work because they're blocking it from all these attacks, the drone attacks on Kiev and all these other places. So what's going on? Why can't I get Colin Ray here? It's like stuck. All right, we'll come back to that. I don't think I'll play the game anyway because I don't have enough. I got Bailey over for one game. Baltimore and Houston. Houston minus 111 and 10. That's a huge number. We got Dean Kremer, 409 against Jack Lambert, 314. I can't look at my pictures. Really? All right. Dean Kramer came up. He's pitched 4 games, 2 in April, 2 July. He keeps giving up 10 runs, 6-1, and then he lost 9-7 at the Cubs. 6 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, 4 runs. So we don't really have enough to go on. He did go 92 pitches, but obviously he's injured. Came back. Jack Lambert, I think he pitched pretty well last week because I think I noted it. Yeah, he's 4-1 his last 5. He's 3 overs, 2 unders. His last 6 games, he's been 2 innings, 2 runs, 1 run, 2 runs, 4 runs, shutout once. So Jack's been pitching pretty good. I think his turf toe is better. That's what ended his career, was the turf toe, where the big toe gets bent back because of the turf, and they need operation to straighten it out. But that's when a good team starts going downhill, is because they start losing their players. Mike Wagner, Bradshaw hurt the wrist. You still had Franco and Swan, Stallworth, but you lost Joe Green and Wagner, and that hurt. You still had Jack Ham a little bit. I mean, and a lot of these guys, some of the guys came in the 70s, Mel Blount and that, and then in the midst, you had that great draft 74. So in 81, they're still only 7 years in. But yeah, they could never replace Joe Green, Greenwood, Wagner. Even Andy Russell was hard to replace. And, and then they start falling down. And that's the problem. That's why teams die, is because the injuries. So they don't have the same players, or the coach leaves or something. Like the Niners did replace pretty well their players, but you couldn't replace Montana. I mean, Steve Young just sucked, so that was their problem. Anyway, so we got Jack Lambert here, and what do we do with this? 10. He doesn't give up 10 runs, but yet Baltimore is a 10. I didn't think they scored. Now I did update my over under my hitting, and I got Baltimore with 4 hitters. So I didn't even do the bad hitters. I just did good hitters. So they got 4 good hitters. That was on Sunday's game, which I assume was a good one because you're not resting anybody because they're off for the All-Star break against Lambert. I don't see this. I don't see this. I think 10's too high. Like I said, the 7 was too low. I think the 10's too high here. I don't. Houston doesn't hit that well. Baltimore's not going to hit Lambert. So San Diego, KC. I can't believe Seth Lugo was in the All-Star game. 4.59 ERA. So it's San Diego at KC. San Diego minus 118. Total on the game is 10.5. Are you fucking kidding me? These totals are ridiculous. Must be AI doing them, right? King 3.42 against Lugo 4.59. Let's look at King. Michael King. Win some, lose some. A lot of unders over the last game and his last 6. 3 runs, 0. 4 runs, 2 runs, 1 run. So could give up a little bit, but KC doesn't hit. Seth Lugo, this guy sucks. He's lost. He's 1-3 his last 4. He's 7 overs and 1. Yeah, because he sucks. And his last 6 has been 1 run, 2 runs, 7, 3, 9, and 2. So he's got a 7 and a 9 in there and a 2 and a 3. But the San Diego and KC, I don't know. San Diego's tricky because I got him with 4 hitters because Xander Bogaerts and the other guy, Manny Machado, neither of them are hitting. They're both like 210, 220, but they're good hitters. So I included them, and then there's 2 or 3 other hitters on the team. So you can't just look at average, but they're not hitting very well. KC with Lugo. I don't know. It could be a San Diego play. It's hard to go over 10.5, even though Lugo stinks. So we'll take a pass on it. But if you got to play it, I think San Diego might be the way. Cincinnati, Colorado. Colorado 109 and 12. Holy fuck. Brady Singer 475 against Grant Hughes 450. What's with all the high numbers today? 10s and 12s, 11s. Brady Singer, my man. He's 1 and 9 his last 10. So who? All right. So we're automatically taking whoever the hell they're playing. Cincinnati, they're at Colorado. So we're going to take Colorado 2 units. Brady Singer. He loses every game. What's his ERA? 4.72, 4.03 last year, 3.71 at KC. Some overs, some unders. And last 6 games, 2 runs, 1 run, shutout, 5, 3, and 1. But we're looking at him from a win-loss standpoint. Goes against Gabriel Hughes. Is this the Gabriel from Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation? I always thought it was Dylan Gabriel, but could be this Gabriel. He's pitched 2 games. They won 15-3. They lost 4-3. 3 innings shutouts, 6 innings, 3 runs. But we're betting against Brady Singer. 1 in 10. Even though we have Hughes, Colorado, well, they were playing pretty well. They were hitting at home. We'll see. Detroit at California. We got Detroit 109, 8.5 at Colorado, at California. They do not play well on the West Coast. They haven't played well since the 60s on the West Coast. 109, Detroit 8.5. Todd Milton, who is 1.84 ERA, is pretty good. He's 25. Went to San Diego State. Where's his game logs? Here he goes. So he's 5-1 his last 6, losing to Houston 2-1. Doesn't give up a lot of runs. 4 unders in a row. His last 6 have been 2 runs, 4 runs, 1-1, 0-1. So he's pretty good, and they're all June and July. So he's a good under pitcher or a good pitcher, depending on Detmers. Reed Detmers. He's 4-2 his last 6. Couple of 5 unders and 2 overs. So he's pretty good under again. Last 6 have been 1 run shutout, 5 runs, 2, 5, and 5. His last 2 games have been 5 and 5. All right. Total on the game's 8.5. This Detmer's given up. Melton's a good, solid pitcher, I see. So I don't think he'll give up a lot of runs. But Detmers gives up 5. I would have bet under until I see Detmers' last 2 games giving up 5. So hasta la vista, baby. I gotta go. Yeah, I can't play California. I want to play California. I can't play. St. Louis at Arizona. We got St. Louis 106 and 9 at Arizona, who just beat the Dodgers last weekend. We got McGreevy 3.03 against M. Kelly 5.42. Michael McGreevy and he's a pig. 3-7. He's 2-7 his last 9, mostly unders. So he's getting bad bullpen. 6 games, 2 runs, 5-0, 2-1. So he's not the problem. They're losing. They're playing low-scoring games, and he's not giving up a lot of runs against Kelly. Merrill Kelly. And he had lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, and then won his last 2. So he's 2-6, but he broke the 6-game losing streak, and he's all under. And I'm not sure how he's under. His last 6 have been 2 runs, 6, 3, 5, 2, and 1. So they are playing under. The total on the game is 9. Okay. Okie dokley. I was watching this thing on The Simpsons, and they showed all the real people, and Homer and Bart's a girl, which we knew, and the other players. So it was pretty funny. Washington, Oakland. We got Washington 109. I just thought I'd throw that in. Washington 109 and 10. Cavalier 386 against Gump 356. Games at Oakland. That's why the total is so high. Another one of these 10.5. Fucking crazy. Cavalier lost his last 2. Overs and unders. His last 6. 5 innings, 3 runs, 2 innings, 2 runs, 6 innings, 2 runs. Big difference there. 7 innings, 1 run, 2 innings, 4 runs, 6 innings, 2 runs. So he gives up a few runs, and sometimes it's 2 or 5 or 6 innings against Jump. And the Jumper's lost his last 4. His last 6 have been 3 runs, shutout, 5, 6, and 1. So he's either getting tired. 4 innings, 5 runs, 3 innings, 6 runs, 5 innings, 1 run. And he goes 80-90 pitches. So the Jumper's been pitching pretty bad. Washington, I can't bet Washington at Oakland. Give me a break. Total on 10. I can't like it. In our last game, the 49ers played the Seahawks. This is the Richard Sherman game. Again, throwing the ball at Richard Sherman, you have to be crazy. This is why I hate Harbaugh. Talk about not knowing your matchup. Do you really want to pick on Richard Sherman with the critical game? Why wouldn't you line up your receiver, that real good guy from Texas Tech? Why wouldn't you line him up on the left side or in the slot and throw to him? Why would you go one-on-one with Richard Sherman? And Kaepernick sucked as a quarterback. He could run, but that was it. Another point where the running quarterback doesn't win for you. All right, the Niners, Seattle minus 169 and 7. We got Roop 427 against Bryce Miller 208. We had a stat on Roop. And Roop is 1-9 his last 10. He did beat Toronto 10-1. His last 3 have been over. His last 6 games, 1 run, 4 runs, 2-2, 6 and 1. But they're in 4 and 5 innings. And Bryce, the Anvil Miller, win some, lose some over, some under his last 6. Shutout, 2 runs, 1, 3 shutout, and then 6 against Miami. So he's been pretty good, but we're betting against Roop here. So bet Seattle while they still have a team in Seattle until the socialist mayor starts taxing everybody on the baseball to pay for all the people leaving. But there's another city on the other side of the lake where everybody's moving to. So again, how socialist never works. Well, I'll give you free food. Who's going to pay? Somebody's going to pay the vendor for the free food. Well, we'll just tax the rich. They won't mind paying taxes so the poor people can eat. Yeah, that's always worked in history. That was the French Revolution. Oh, we can't feed the poor. Well, let's have a play, Les Miserables, a musical, and we'll work on that. And everybody dies but John. All right, so that's your baseball. Your free pick. Take Pittsburgh over 7.5, just on principle. You don't really have great pitchers going. It's Jones against Gus Williams, but Gus hasn't been pitching. He's got a 3.82. And what I like is it's only 7.5. Now, I know Cleveland, good bullpen. Pitt, really good hitting. So Pitt plays a lot of overs. Cleveland, a lot of unders. I get it, but it's Jones and Williams. So that's it. Not a lot of games today. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? All right. That's that. Now let's go to college football. And then we will go to Mark McGwire. Really good Mark McGwire today. He did a regular class and he kind of showed what's going on. And definitely July 24th, and definitely China goes physical, and the only choice the U.S. has is either, they can't afford to not pay the debt. Everybody thinks, well, they just won't pay the debt. They're the U.S. Well, you can't. So if you don't pay your debts, what happens to you, right? You go bankrupt, and then you can't get a loan for 6 or 7 years. So if you want to live, you don't go bankrupt. Also Pepsi. There was an announcement from Pepsi yesterday that their sales are down for Pepsi's and Doritos and Frito. They own Doritos and Fritos and stuff, and all the sales were down. And one guy was trying to point out, well, what does that mean? Well, it means A, their prices are too big. B, people are maybe getting away from Pepsi and chips and eating healthier. C, their credit cards are beginning to get full and they can't use them anymore, because normally that's what you use with your credit cards is you buy pop and chips because you can't afford steak and lobster. So you tend to eat well. That's why normally when we're in a recession like we're in, and the costs are higher, the interest rates are higher, you buy Coke and Pepsi stock. So I did a whole master's on at the trade cycle in the stock market. So basically, as interest rates go up and it costs more, you don't buy cars, you don't buy houses, you buy, but you always buy Budweiser and Coke and Pepsi because they're cheap and it's food and you're going to buy it. So you focus more on that. So interesting that Pepsi sales were down as well as the chips and the pop. But I don't know. I mean, because as we become more healthy and more aware, we realize we don't want to drink Pepsi. We don't want to drink chips or eat chips. We want to, maybe if there's a diet caffeine Pepsi, but I don't think they have one. Like I'll have a diet Fresca or a diet Squirt because it's the taste's okay, but there's no caffeine in it and there's no sugar in it. So I will. That's like the only pop I'll drink, or Diet Vernors. Like when I go to the restaurants, I get water with a lemon, and Alyssa looks at me and I go, "Well, I can't have the caffeine and I can't have the sugar, and they don't have Diet Pop." It's weird how the restaurants, they just have the Coke products. They'll have the Coke, and there's nothing, there's a Diet Coke, and then all the other Coke products are full of caffeine and sugar. So it's a terrible product to serve at a steakhouse or at a hamburger house. And it's crazy. All right. Just as that floated into my head. All right. Picking the American Conference. This is Navy. So here's their rank. Navy 1, Tulane, South Florida, the Army, Memphis, UTSA, North Texas, Temple, East Carolina, UAB, Florida Atlantic, Tulsa, Rice, and Charlotte. You got 14 fucking teams in the American. There's just there. I don't know. There's you need more conferences or what, but 14 teams in this conference. You got to be kidding. So they like the Navy, even though they lost their quarterback Harvith. I'll read you. Well, let's see. So Braxton Woodson is one of the best big play performers in the conference, the new Navy quarterback. The key with the Armies and Navies are can the quarterback run and pitch good and make some throws? And they've been throwing the ball a little bit more at Army Navy than just running the wishbone every play. And so the key is, can the guy read it? When Army had that great guy a couple of years ago, he had like 35 touchdowns, and he could read. So he would, these 3rd and 1, 4th and 1s, he'd always get the first down. And goal lines, he'd score a lot. He could read the plays very well. And that's what you need. But if they can't read it, Army Navy's in big trouble because they make the wrong reads. All right. Tulane. Tulane's going to struggle. Their coach lost Summerall. But again, so did the other coach. So they keep losing coaches to these other schools. But I don't think Tulane's got a quarterback this year. Mensah was there, went to Duke, and now he's at Miami, but I don't think they have a quarterback. South Florida, who knows? Army, again, they return a lot of starters. Good coach. Memphis got a new coach. They should be pretty decent. UTSA has Owen McCown, who's a very good quarterback, 35 touchdowns last year, so they'll be explosive. North Texas, now they lost their coach and quarterback, who was the best quarterback in the country, and they're on Oklahoma State now. So look for Oklahoma State over, but North Texas is in trouble. They got a new coach, and they're going from a run-and-shoot offense to a running offense. That's ridiculous. So I don't know. I think that's stupid. You don't have the players for it. You don't have the offensive line for it. You got to change everything. So North Texas is going to be in trouble this year. They're not the over team, and this is why we read it. If you just look at North Texas from last year, I'm going to bet them over every game. But you can't, because it's not the same coach. It's not the same quarterback. The variables have changed. This is why we do this. So we'll see. Temple should be decent, not great, but they look like they have a decent team. East Carolina, who knows? UAB, they're going to struggle. Florida Atlantic. These are all like middle of the road teams. So when do you bet them? Tulsa, when their strength is the secondary, they're in big trouble. Rice, terrible. Charlotte, terrible. They're both C teams. So let's get into my handy dandy, and I will be with you in about 2 minutes. I will come back, and we go to the AAC. And we start with, all right, North Texas, 44 game, gave up 24, but not this year. So they lost the quarterback. They're going to be run heavy instead of pass heavy. So the 44 is going to go down. The 24 we'll see. Tavon Jackson, 10 touchdowns, 8 picks, will be the new quarterback because he's a good runner. So they're going to run more option and stuff like that. So it's a totally different team. I got him rated as an E from an A. USF, South Florida, 43 points, 23. They got Van Buren from LSU will be their new quarterback. 5 touchdowns, 2 picks, and nothing. Hartline from Ohio State is first time he's ever coached. That's a big problem. So we got to see with South Florida. You got to watch the coach. Memphis, 34 points, give up 22. Stokes from West Florida, which is Division II. It's like North Dakota State, West Florida. He's apparently a very good quarterback, again, with different competition. And Huff, the Marshall Southern Miss coach, is now the coach at Memphis. So I expect Memphis to be pretty good. Good quarterback, good coach. We will see. UTSA, as I mentioned, 33 a game, give up 30. Owen McCown, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 225 passing, 170 rushing. So I think UTSA will still be a good over team. East Carolina, 33-20 last year. Mitch Griss from Texas Tech. He was a backup there, so he obviously got beaten out by the other guy. So now he comes here to East Carolina. 2 touchdowns, no picks. And, we'll see what we got there. Again, new quarterback. It's just like baseball. When we get the pitcher, the bullpen guy comes in, we have no idea what to do. And that's what we have here. Who is Mitch Griffs? He must be good. He went to Texas Tech and they recruited him. So you assume that. The Navy scored 32, give up 27. Woodson, good quarterback. And they ran for 300 yards a game last year. So we will see. But just because they're pick number 1 here doesn't mean anything. Florida Atlantic, 30 points a game, gave up 36. This is a trouble. Keldon Veltkamp, 24 touchdowns, 17 picks. He's pretty good. Kitley, a second-year head coach. They're an over team. I got 303 yards passing, 105 rushing. So they're a run and shoot, hence the 36 defense. So this is an over team against other over teams. This is also a lock team against a Z team, like Charlotte and Rice are Z teams. Charlotte gives up 36. So if you've got Florida Atlantic playing Charlotte, we're going to lock it over because Florida Atlantic will just keep scoring and Charlotte will give up 36. Tulane, I got as an E team, 29 points a game, give up 22. So a fair defense. Gramillion is the quarterback. I have no idea. Hall is a weak coordinator. So I don't know what Tulane, they're supposedly still a decent team, but you can't keep changing your coach every year and your quarterback and think that's going to just plug and play. It doesn't work. Temple I have as an E team, scored 28 a game, gave up 30. Smolik, no experience. He was a backup for 3 years. Keeler from Sam Houston. So Keeler was at Sam Houston. They had a pretty good team. He's their coach. So look for Temple to be decent. They're not a Z team. You've got to get the name out and you got to get the rank in. So when you look at Memphis, I got them as an A team. And then you've got like Tulane, who you think's an A team, but not this year. We got to see their quarterback. They could end up being it, but at this point they're not. So you got to be careful there. UAB, I got it as an over team, scored 26 a game, give up 38. Ryder Burton, 7 touchdowns, 5 picks last year. So again, UAB, one of these no defense teams. Did the defense get better? Probably not. These coaches don't know what they're doing, and they're focusing on the offense. Tulsa, I got as a W team, scores 23, gives up 29. Baylor Haynes, 12 touchdowns, 6 picks last year. Lamb is in his second year as coach for Tulsa. So keep in mind this Sam Houston coach, Keeler. Sam Houston was pretty good. So Temple is better than we think because of their coach. Army, 23, give up 22. Cale Helliums, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, supposedly pretty good. 257 yards rushing last year. Rice scored 19, give up 32. Brown from UCF will be the quarterback. What the fuck is he going to Rice for? Not much there, a Z team. And then Charlotte, the bigger Z team, 14 points, give up 36. Grayson Loftus, 8 touchdowns, 8 picks. It's the 8 picks that you look at. You got 8 touchdowns. If they got 8 picks, he's not a good quarterback. All right, so let's go through the Gray Sports Almanac. So we start off with Navy. Brian Newberry's still the coach. He's 28-12 in 3 years, so he's a pretty good coach. And they did beat Army 17-16. Again, there's Brandon Woodson. He's a senior, but he hasn't played much. He'll be the quarterback. The overview, this shapes up somewhat of a rebuilding season, but Navy takes great pride in being a development program. Newberry is confident he has built a program that can reload. So that's the coach. So what we're saying is good coach. They should be okay. They open at Townsend. What the fuck is that? Then they go to Florida Atlantic, UAB at the Air Force, Tulsa, UTSA, North Texas, and then they got that Notre Dame game. This one's in Foxborough. What the fuck are they playing in New England for? Then Temple, Memphis, good game at Charlotte, and then, of course, the Army game. So, again, the tough game is Notre Dame. I don't know why they keep playing them. I don't see the benefit of playing Notre Dame. Notre Dame knows how to defend them, so it's really what was the score last year? It was 31-17. Notre Dame knows how to defend their run, and that's why they have to throw more, but I don't know. So they scored 31 and gave up 25. So we'll see. We're not going to learn anything with Towson at Florida Atlantic, at UEB. We'll probably learn something at Air Force. Tulane, Zion Gramillion is a senior, and this guy is Will Hall's the coach. First year. So they lost Summerall, their coach, and now they got Will Hall. He was the passing game coordinator a year ago under Summerall. So he's never coached before. The passing game coordinator does not impress me as a head coach. So we will see. So I'm a little worried with the Hall. You got a new quarterback. Houston transfer Gramillion. Gramillion started for the Cougars in 24, but was supplanted by Wegmer. So this guy stinks. So he's not a good quarterback. He got beaten out at Houston, so he comes over to Tulane. You don't really have a good coach where they got from somebody. So we will see. So I'm looking for an off year with Tulane. They open at Duke, tough game. South Alabama, we'll get to. Kansas State, you never know with them. They're always tough at home. Southern Miss, the coach moved on, so it's not him anymore. At the Army, Memphis, tough one. UTSA, tough one. At Charlotte, Tulsa, Rice, North Texas, who is not North Texas anymore, and at South Florida. So they opened up last year, killed Northwestern 23-3, so that tells you a lot. They lost to Ole Miss 45-10 and UTSA 48-26. And then actually they were in the playoff and lost to Ole Miss 41-10. What were they doing in the playoff? We don't know. Was it the big win over Duke? Was it losing to Ole Miss 45-10 and then lost again 41-10? Was it the Army win 24-17 that got them in the playoff? Or maybe it was the Charlotte win. So anyway, we got to be careful. Tulane is not the same team. So again, we can't just look at last year and go, oh, we're going to bet Tulane. No, not this year. We're going to bet against Tulane. But the line will not adjust for them being bad this year. It'll stay on them being good. And they'll be our bitch this year. South Florida Bulls. Sort of like the North Dallas Bulls. The North Dallas 40. I got that movie on Tubi right now. Or no, Pluto, I think. Too many commercials in it. It's crazy. So South Florida, Heartline, Ohio State. This is his first coaching gig. And that's always, you don't have the experience. I'm sorry, they're going to be in trouble. So their quarterback, Barnes, and the coach went to Auburn. I like how the quarterback follows the coach. So they went to Auburn. So now Auburn should score a little bit more. South Florida, they're in trouble. They scored 40 a game, gave up 23, but you lost the coach and quarterback. Your new quarterback, Van Buren, was at LSU, and he was the backup. So probably not bad. He was recruited by LSU. They open up with Florida International. We haven't gotten there yet. They're Sun Belt. At the Army. Again, you got to stop that running attack. Delaware State. They might be Division I now. I got to check. At Bowling Green. Temple, UTSA, Kent State, UAB, East Carolina, Memphis, Florida Atlantic, and Tulane. So you got Memphis in there. And at UTSA, they score a lot at the Army. So you really don't know, because we really don't know what UTSA, UAB, East Carolina, Florida, we don't know what these teams are. So it's really, this is one of these conferences that the good players get plucked, and then you don't know what you have left. Army, we're going with K.L. Helliams, the quarterback. He's pretty good. Our goal this season is to be the backbone of this team, the Army offensive line. Army can return to contention in the American if its offense is as good as advertised. The Black Knights defense may take time to settle with the 8 new starters, but Army is hoping preseason competition will breed another bend but don't break unit, which means they're not that good. So they should score, because it's hard to stop Army when they can run it down your throat. They just keep running it down your throat. They open with Bryant. Then it's South Florida, at Temple, at L Tech. We haven't looked at Louisiana Tech yet. Tulane, Florida Atlantic, Tulsa, at Memphis, the Air Force, East Carolina, at Rice, and then the Navy game. So not a tough schedule. You got Memphis, the Air Force. We don't know what they are yet. The Navy seem to be decent. Bryant, you never know who Bryant is. How do you schedule Bryant? Jesus Christ. They opened with Tarleton State last year and lost 30-27. So that shows you. And then somehow they beat Kansas State 24-21. How do you lose to Tarleton State and beat Kansas State? Wow. Anyway, so it's UAB. We know Charlotte and Rice suck. UAB, and then some of these things, Temple, Tulane, Florida Atlantic, Tulsa. Tulsa, we believe, sucks. East Carolina. So there's a lot of question marks here. Who is good, bad, ugly, whatever? We don't know. Army and Navy should still be the same. They recruit. They're going to run that option game, but they pass a little bit. And then it's how good is their defense. Army's been pretty good against these passing teams. So against North Texas, they lost 45-38 last year. Holding North Texas to 45 was probably a good thing. Now remember, Army went to Michigan and should have beat them. They had a motion call, first and goal at the 1. and the guard jumped, and then it was first and goal at the 6. They had to settle for a field goal, and it was 24-24, and then they went to overtime and lost. They should have won there if the guy scores, and they would have scored on Michigan. So anyway, they scored 23 again, give up 21. So we'll see. Again, you got to really pick the opponent, right? A bad defensive team. You watch how Navy played the teams, because if they couldn't stop Navy, they're not stopping Army. Memphis, they got Huff. This is the good coach. So Huff was the guy from Southern Miss from Marshall. So look for Memphis to be very good this year, or at least well coached. We don't know who the quarterback is. They open at Vegas, which we haven't looked at yet. Then Arkansas State, who's Sunbelt, and then at Boise. UT Martin. What are they playing UT Martin for? Then it's at Charlotte, UAB, at Tulane, East Carolina, the Army, South Florida, at the Navy, and Temple. So interesting schedule there. Their tough games are going to be Army and Navy, and Boise, and Vegas could be tough depending. UTSA, an over team, Owen McCown, very good quarterback. He's McCown's son who played on Tampa, but he had a big year last year. He's a senior this year. With a proven quarterback and a deep group of returning pass catchers, UTSA's offense should again be the program's strength. The Roadrunners have, and you got to love a team called the Roadrunners. Roadrunners have answers at running back and enough continuity along the offensive line to expect balance. Defense is the question, and last year they gave up 28 a game, scored 35. This is the ultimate over team that we love. UTSA has always been a good over team for us. Jeff Traylor's been there 8 years, so he's good. They open with, I've never heard of this team, UT Rio Grande Valley. Division 2, 3, is it a high school, junior high? So they got UT Rio Grande Valley, which makes, I don't know. We're not going to learn a lot from that game. They get Texas State, and now here's the real game is at Texas, and it's right after Texas, Ohio State. So this will be a big test. They played, they didn't play Texas last year. They played A&M and lost 42-24 to Marcel Reed, and he was pretty elusive, the quarterback, until he played Miami, and they didn't do anything. So we don't know how they're going to stand against at Texas. This is a game you got to be careful of. They'll be getting 28, and you'll want to take them because they score a lot. And then it's really what happens in those games, the Texas or Alabama or Georgia, it's the defensive line kills the offensive line of the weaker team, and the quarterback just goes back to pass, and he gets sacked and or pressured. They try running, and they're not going to run on these defenses. So that's why you get the blowouts. And then Texas, UTSA doesn't have the defense to stop Texas and Alabama, Georgia. That's why you always see them blow out. But against A&M, 42-24, and that was really it. So after Texas is Colorado State, at Rice, South Florida, the Navy, at Tulane, Florida Atlantic, North Texas, UAB, Tulsa. So they should win quite a few games. The biggest problem is going to be Navy and, of course, Texas. So the Texas, now they could upset Texas, and then they go flat the rest of the year because the Northern Illinois did that. They beat Notre Dame, and they were so high from that game, they couldn't win another game, even though they beat the Notre Dame. So we will see. And yes, I did call that upset. I remember that one. So UTSA, we'll see. Again, we're looking for this team against weak defenses. And that's why we see it. We see the weak defense. They played a lot of high-scoring games. It was weird. They beat Texas State, actually they lost 43-36. Then they played Colorado State to a 17-16. And then North Texas 55-17. Tulane 48-26. How the hell do you lose to North Texas and beat Tulane? And Tulane was a playoff team. So very good quarterback. Should be a lot of points. Not a great defense. So this is a pure over, which is what we love. We love to know the teams. Okay, good quarterback. He's an over. Now we can't bet week 1 against the Rio Grande Valley, but we can keep an eye on them. North Texas, they're in trouble. Coach leaves, quarterback leaves, say goodbye, and they're going to a running game. I don't understand it. So this could be our week 1 lock at Indiana. Indiana's going to want to get Josh Hoover, going to get everybody going. Knowing this coach, he'll be really rough on them. At Indiana, look for Indiana to kill them. We'll get the line on this game, but anything under 30, because North Texas is not the same team. They don't have the coach. They don't have the quarterback. You got a new coach going in against Indiana, and that defense, they're going to run it down your throats. Yeah, North Texas had a 26 defense. They gave up 215 yards rushing with a good team. So they open at Indiana, big loss. Then they go to Vegas. We got to get to Vegas. At Texas State, we got to see that. Then they play Houston Christian. What the hell was that? How do you play Indiana and Houston Christian on your schedule? At Tulsa, pretty weak. Charlotte, pretty weak. The Navy, probably a loss. Florida Atlantic, we don't know. Rice, probably an easy one. At UTSA, at Tulane, and at UAB. And these are the question marks. The UABs, the Rices. Well, Rice should be bad. At Tulane, Florida Atlantic, Tulsa. They should suck, but we'll see. So we got to get to, we've done Indiana. We know they're good. We got to get to the Texas State. We got to get to the UNL. So we got to get Mountain West and that, which we don't have. So we're going to go from here to the Pac-8. I believe that's what I put on my thing. I can always change and just edit my title, but I kind of want to do a team with 8 because these are like 17 teams. It's like forever. Temple, KC Keeler from Sam Houston, pretty good coach. Last year they were 5-7. Okay, but it's Temple. Jason Smolik, a new quarterback. He was recruited by Penn State and sat on the bench, so he couldn't beat out the one joker from Penn State. I don't know. Just because he was recruited, look at the guy. We have our first lock, and we're going to go against Warren, who was the Michigan quarterback who couldn't complete a pass. I don't know what team he's on. I did write it down in my comments, so I do know what it is. So Temple, again, a third string Penn State quarterback at Temple. Temple scored 27 a game, gave up 29. Same coach, Keeler, good coach. Sam Houston was pretty good with him, so we'll see. They open against Rhode Island, who there won't be a bet on. Then we go to Penn State, which is ironic because the quarterback should know the defense, but even that, it's now changed to the Iowa State defense. So Penn State, then at Toledo, and then they get Army, South Florida, Connecticut. That's a new one. We didn't look at Connecticut. We looked at Notre Dame, Connecticut, but not in the book, I don't think. There's a lot of new. Oh yeah, the coach is gone, the quarterback's gone. Charlotte, who sucks, East Carr, at the Navy, UAB, Rice, and at Memphis. So they could be decent. They have this running back, JoJo Bermudez. No, he's a wide receiver. Anyway, East Carolina, Blake Harrell, 14-5 in 1.5 years as coach, so pretty good. Scored 32 a game, give up 20, not bad. Quarterback's gone. Mitch Griffiths is there. He was a third stringer for Texas Tech, as I pointed out. They open at Alabama, so that's not going to be close. The spreads, we got to keep the spread in the 30s. Then App State, who's Sun Belt, and Old D, and North Carolina Central. They're going to play Rio Grande Valley, I think. Rice, UAB at Memphis, Temple, South Florida, Charlotte, Army, Florida Atlantic. Again, not enough information, except we know Army. We know Memphis should be good. We know Temple will be decent, but we don't know if they're better or not than East Carolina. The Army game, and obviously they'll lose to Alabama. Bama, I don't know. They're in trouble. They're another the coach, the defense is not there. The running back's not there. Gonna be difficult for Alabama. I mean, they'll win this game, but good luck against Georgia and Ole Miss, Tennessee, UAB, and Ryder Burton. I talked about when I was on the spreadsheet. Not very good. I don't know. I don't understand. Tell me. I mean, this guy, his picture, this is Ryder Burton. Look at it. He's wearing shorts. How stupid are you? You have pads to not wear pads, and then he's got this big gouge on his knee because he's not wearing his pads. It's football. I wear my pads. I don't get this shorts. I think it looks stupid. Why would you not want to protect your knees? You can run faster. Oh, is this analytics talking? Alex Mortensen at UAB and overall 2-4 1 year. So this guy, I don't know. He's the offensive coordinator. Burton's a redshirt junior. They did beat Memphis last year with this guy. And they got a running back from Georgia, Rod Robinson. We'll see. So Burton, we'll find out. I don't love their coach. 2-4 doesn't tell. They scored 26 a game, gave up 38. But again, this is a new coach. That's probably why the old coach got fired. And they open at Illinois. That'll be a loss. Louisiana Monroe. They're usually the bad Louisiana. Lou Lafayette's usually the good one. The Navy, Sanford at Memphis, East Carolina, South Florida, Charlotte, Temple, UTSA, and North Texas. So UTSA, South Florida, we don't know. East Carolina, we don't know. Memphis should be a loss. Navy and Lou Lafayette will probably be a loss because they're always good, Lou Lafayette. But again, UAB, I don't know. They had no defense last year. Let's look at the overview. The pieces are in place for improvement during Mortensen's first full season as full-time head coach. But the proof comes on the field. An easy path, healthy. Yeah, okay, so we don't have a lot of info there. Florida Atlantic, Caden Veltkamp. He's actually a good quarterback. He's back. They scored 29 a game, gave up 36, another over team. And in this league, it seems to be they go to a lot of good passing attacks because it's easier than trying to do run blocking. And the coach, Zach Kitney, was 4-8 last year. So I don't put a lot of stock in Florida Atlantic, although they do have a good quarterback. They open at Florida. Good luck. Although I don't know how good Florida is. We did look at them, but new quarterback. I don't know. I got to review that. Then they get Navy, Florida International, Lou Monroe, Texas Southern Division II, at the Army, Rice, North Texas, UTSA, Tulsa, South Florida, and East Carolina. So it's all very repetitive. These teams are all the same. We don't know who's good and bad. And this is the problem. So as we're trying to sort that out, okay, Tulsa, the Golden Hurricane, not just a hurricane, but a Golden Hurricane. Trey Lamb, 4-8 first year overall, 31-33 in 6 years. So he's not a great coach. Tulsa, Baylor Hayes, a sophomore. They got 23 points a game, gave up 28. If you notice, these average teams all have weak defenses. So it should be high scoring. So it should be a lot of overs in this conference. They open at Oklahoma State, at home to Oklahoma State. Again, Tulsa, so that's Oklahoma. We'll see. Then at Sam Houston, East Texas A&M, and then at Arkansas. So there's a West Texas A&M and an East Texas A&M. At Arkansas, North Texas, the Navy, Rice, Army, Tulane, Florida Atlantic, Charlotte, UTSA. Same bullshit. Overview. Tulsa's offense and defense will be shaped by its trademark Portal House, a short-term off-campus Airbnb that serves as headquarters transfer portal efforts. Lamb created the concept to host and recruit. What the fuck? Who cares? And it worked. Tulsa brought in 25 transfers with rankings ranging as high as 19 nationally. The Golden Hurricanes also showed improvement on the field, and Lamb's going 4-8. That's pretty pathetic. After 3-9. Oh yeah, they were great. Oh yeah, they played Abilene Christian. That's probably why. They did beat Oklahoma State last year. That was like their big win. And they beat Oregon State. And they beat my Army team. So I don't know. Tulsa, we'll have to keep an eye on them. And then Rice and Charlotte, both Z teams. Coach for Rice, Scott Abel, 1 year, 5-8. So what do we keep seeing? First year head coaches, or they're in their second year. This is kind of like they go there, and if they're any good, like the Tulane coach, James Madison coach, then it's a stepping stone. It's crazy the way college football is now. So the other colleges, like Indiana, couldn't get a good coach, and they steal James Madison. And this year, again, a very similar thing where the other team stole the James Madison coach. So you have a James Madison coach who is pretty good, or you get a coach who's pretty good, and then they move up, but the good colleges can't find coaches. It's really strange. So I'm not going to go. Rice does play at Notre Dame, at Fresno State. I'm not going to read every game. Ja'Carri Brown is a senior quarterback. They're going to suck. They scored 19 a game, gave up 32, a good Z team. Charlotte, Grayson Loftus. So he was a starter, and he got a nasty injury. Tim Allen from Home Improvement is the coach. He was 1-11 his first year. We don't really know. They play at Ole Miss, Memphis, at the Navy. Yes, I actually got 30. Okay, yeah, they scored 14, gave up 36 a game. So Charlotte, not good. Rice, those will be our two pitches. And it's good to know who the Z team is in the conference. And then the other teams, as we see, UTSA, pretty explosive, but not a great defense. But teams like these teams won't really be able to do much against them. And that'll be the key. So that's what we're looking at. All right, let's go to the Pac-8. It was the Pac-12 to the Pac-2. Here's James Madison. This is Sun Belt. Picking the Sun Belt. We'll get to that soon. Let's go to Florida. John Summerall, so he's from Tulane. This is his first year. So you got a good Tulane coach coaching Florida. Okay, so they will be better. Let me write that down. I might have, I might not have. I mean, I think it's important that he was some James Madison. All right, let's go to the pack, whatever they are now. Picking the pack, it's not the pack 12. It's Utah State and Oregon State last. So what do they say? Boise, the A team, San Diego State, great defense. What else is new? Fresno State, good line play. Utah State, Washington State, they don't say much. Texas State, quarterback star coach GJ Kinn. State will be the over team there from Connecticut. Off he goes, and Oregon State, surprising defense will give the rest. So Oregon State apparently has a defense. The Brad Jackson, Texas State, is the All-Pac 8 player, and then Maddox Masson from Boise. So let's go to the pack. The pack 8. All right, Washington State. 2020 last year. Pinnock, the new quarterback. This guy who went to Oregon sucks. Moore, the offensive coordinator from Missouri, is the new head coach. I don't have a quarterback. Oregon State, 18 points, 429 against. So all of a sudden they're going to be a defensive team. Malik Murphy, 9-8. This guy was at Texas. He was at Duke. He's going to play. This is his 6th, 7th year. Shepard, first year. He's an Alabama assistant. I don't know why they're going to have a great defense. Utah State, 31-28, 31 points, offense, 28 defense. Hillstead, the new coach. Brocco Mendenhall, who we like. Good, solid team. Yes, I do agree that they'll have Utah State will be a good team with a good defense. It's all the coach. Boise, 31-23. Maddox Madsen returning, 18 touchdowns, 7 picks, strong offense, 228 yards, rushing, passing, 188 rushing. Fresno State, 26 points, score 26, give up 20. Martin will be the new quarterback. Don't have anything on him. San Diego State scored 24, give up 12. Now there's an under team for you. Denigel from Michigan State, 9 touchdowns, 8 picks. None of the quarterbacks from Michigan State are any good. The one they got now that I can't pronounce is pretty good. 151 and 188. So he's an offensive coach, whoever they have. That's San Diego State. Colorado State scored 18, give up 30. They're a Z team. Henry, the new quarterback. I don't know, Jim Mora. Okay, so you got Jim Mora coming in. He'll clean things up. And then Texas State scores 36, gives up 30. They're the over team. Brad Jackson, 18-7, and that's who they said was the offensive player, the best quarterback. So look for Texas State as the over, but you got San Diego State. So Texas State's playing San Diego State. We're not playing the game over. I mean, that's the problem. You've got this 30 defense. You're going to have San Diego State, and they're going to shut down Texas State. And that's really the only strong defensive team in there is San Diego State. Fresno State with the 20. Boise 23, but not anywhere near this 12 of Texas State. All right, so those are the the numbers. So again, most of the Mountain West has gone to the Pac-10. To call it the Pac-12, which is really the Pac-8. All right, Boise, we know all about them. Maddox, the coach is Spencer Danielson. He's been there 2 years. They open at Oregon. Good fucking luck there. Then they go to Memphis. Good luck. South Dakota, Western Michigan, Utah State, Fresno, Washington State. Well, I'm not going to read everything, but that's what you have. There now last year, they lost to Notre Dame 28-7, killed Vegas, and that's it. They beat Vegas again in the championship, and that they scored 29, gave up 24. So usually a pretty good offense. They gave us Jordan Gentry, or whatever his name is, for the Raiders. So they very good usually offensively. San Diego State, the killer defense. Sean Lewis, who was at Akron or one of Kent State, I think, 12-13 in 2 years, 38, 44, and 7. A decent coach. I don't know. They got a guy named Lucky Sutton. He's their running back. Lucky Sutton. He should have been going to Vegas, not San Diego State. Then a guy from Michigan State. He's not too good. They always struggle on offense. They do play at UCLA week 2, Texas State, and Boise State. They're tough games. Last year, they killed California 34-0. Beat Boise 17-7. So, look out for San Diego State. They gave up. Colorado State scored 24 on them, and Washington State 36. Hawaii 38, and that was it. And then North Texas put up a 49 on them. So we got that. Fresno State, Merton. They got Matt Entz, been there 1 year, was 9-4, which isn't bad. Fresno State's usually a very good team. They're near San Francisco. FCS National Championship winning head coach Matt Entz dipped into North Dakota State's former conference, Missouri Valley football, for Fresno State's offensive approach. So they're playing a North Dakota State offense. I don't know how good or bad that is. They open at USC. Oh, I love this game. Over. Oof. Love to see. USC will put up big numbers here. Well, maybe not. They had 25. They gave up 18 a game. Is their defense that good? Fresno State has won 9+ games 13 times since 2001, including in 4 of the last 5 seasons. Look for that trend to continue as the Bulldogs to be in the mix for the Pac-13 title, the Pac-12 title. Should Merton deliver a quarterback, they might be the new conference favorites. Fresno State boasted college football's second stingiest pass defense in 2025. Only Ohio State allowed fewer. They got USC the week 1. I was all set to bet USC, or I just talked about betting it over. Now I have to rethink that because this is a very good defense. This is an 18 defense. Gave up 153 yards passing. I'm not quite sure I want to load up on USC, where you think USC's got the offense, but let's take a look at what Fresno State's done. They lost at Kansas 31-7. That was the coach's first game. Then they beat a good Hawaii team 23-21. Lost to San Diego State 23-0. Beat Boise 30-7. What the fuck? How do you lose to San Diego State and beat Boise 30-7? Lost to Utah State. Beat San Jose State. And that's it. So good passing teams last year. They gave up 49 to Colorado State. I have no idea. 28 to Utah State. And then Boise, they gave up 7. This is why I get the big money, right? I'm trying to figure out this mess. They open at USC. They got a San Jose State, a Washington State, Boise, the conference, Oregon State, Utah State. So we'll see. We'll learn a lot from at USC. Let's compare it to somebody from last year at Hawaii. They won 23-21. 27 at Oregon State. They gave up 49 at Colorado State. And that was it. So they had kind of one bad game, 49 at that's crazy. So, the Kansas game, 31-7. I guess we can Kansas had a pretty good offense last year. But that game fooled me because I thought Kansas was better than they were, beating the Fresno State team, and then you find out, I don't think so. But this will be a good team to watch. Fresno State, Utah State. Score 30, give up 28. They got Bronco Mendenhall from BYU, who's a very good coach. He's 6-7 1 year, but he's won 48, 95, and 19 years at BYU. Mendenhall's first year showed immediate progress despite the Aggies sub 500. Utah State dropped late season contest to Boise and Vegas by 1 and 3 points. They did win at Fresno State. Experienced offensive defensive lines will lay the foundation of Utah State to turn some near misses into wins. And so there'll be a very good team. This is where Jordan Love went. He was good with one coach. The other coach game he sucked. And I don't think he's very good at Green Bay. Last year, they lost to A&M 44-22. Beat my Air Force team 49-30. Lost to Hawaii, who had a pretty good team. Lost to Vegas 29-26. Beat Fresno State, and then lost to Boise State and Washington State 30-28. Brock Hall, Bennett Hall, they'll be competitive. They open up at Idaho State. We don't know. At Washington. This could be a good game. At Utah, good luck with that one. At Boise, Washington State, Texas State, and then the rest of the Big Eight. So Washington and Utah, this will be interesting. And that's really not where you want to bet them. You really want to bet them at home to Troy, the Washington State game, the Colorado State game. That's kind of where you want to bet them. You're tempted against Washington and Utah, but I would not bet them against Utah, although that is a rivalry. Although they didn't play last year. Interesting. Washington State. Now, this is a key one to research because they open with Washington. Let's see. Moore is Washington State's third coach in 3 years. So Kirby Moore is in his first year. He'll have to retool the Cougars offense, which is some solid pieces around it. Moore spent the past 2 seasons offensive coordinator at Missouri. Will lead on Pinnock, who was the 2025 Big Sky Freshman of the Year at UC Davis. So you got a UC Davis quarterback. You've got a Missouri offensive coordinator as your coach. He's never coached. They open at Washington, bet Washington, beat Navy. At Kansas State, interesting game. Arizona, interesting game. And then you got the Boise's, the Utah States, San Diego State. You got the rest of the conference. So what you're going to do at Washington, even though it's a rivalry game, I keep it in the 20s, and we'll bet Washington, I believe. Texas State, now they are the explosive offensive team. Well, let's Washington State. They scored 22 and gave up 20. But this is the guy's first head coach. He's an offensive coordinator. I would expect their defense to get shredded by Washington. Texas State, G.J. Kinney. Sounds like the guy from Spider-Man. the J. Jonah Jameson, 23-16 for 3 years here. So he's a winning team. 38 points a game, gives up 29. So they're an over team. Brad Jackson apparently is a good quarterback. He's a sophomore. Yeah, they put up a lot of 40s and 50s. Now they open at Texas. They're not a bad offense, but they're a bad defense. And Arch Manning, look for this to be a high-scoring game. Then they go to UTSA and then Incarnate Ward, which is usually high-scoring. And then the rest of the conference, Boise, Fresno State, Utah State. So we'll really focus on this conference. I think we can make a lot of money here. This Texas State will be key. Now at Texas will be laying 30, and we'll want to bet Texas State because of this offense. G.J. Kinney is a good offensive coach. I think it was at. Yeah, I can't think where it was at. I think it was Texas Tech. I think it was a quarterback at Texas Tech or Baylor or somewhere. I remember the name, and now he's a coach. He's 35-18 in 4 years. So 5 years ago, he was a quarterback at Texas Tech, and then he became coaching because he couldn't make the pros. So we will see. Bobcats are going to be a fun team to watch with Jackson and Sparks leading the change in the passing game. But the defense will have to find a way to raise its overall play. And with Boise, San Diego State, Fresno State at the top of the Pac-12. So we know our bitches on defense, and we see Texas State's an over team. But it's going to be complex because you've got the Fresno State, Boise, and San Diego State games are going to cancel them out. Maybe the Boise game we can bet over, but maybe the Colorado State, Oregon State. We'll see about Washington State, what they look like. We're going to get skewed by the Washington. Washington's going to beat them 56-0, and then what do we do with Washington State? Well, they don't have a defense. They don't have an offense, And then here comes week 2 and 3 and 4, and then they're better. Well, let's take a look at it. So after Washington, it's Kansas State, then Duquesne, which doesn't count, and then Arizona, and then finally conference, Fresno State, Utah State, Oregon. So you really won't know Washington State. We'll just see them getting killed by Washington and Kansas State. Last year, Washington beat them 59-24. But they beat San Diego State 36-13. Incredible. So this year, Texas State, they played UTSA 43-36, as we would have thought. Arkansas State 31-30. Troy 48-41. So they were in the I think they were in the Sun Belt. James Madison 52-20. So it's a little different, but they will be offensively. So at Texas, they played Arizona State, lost 34-15, who wasn't that good. They're no Texas. James Madison beat them 52-20, who is not a Texas, but that's it. So they're going way over their heads. Do not bet Texas State in this game. Possibly the over, because their defense sucks, and Arch Manning will want to go for the Heisman, and they get Ohio State, Texas the week after, so they're going to want to pound. And I would imagine this Brad Jackson can throw for a few touchdowns on Texas. You always think that, right? Oh, they're playing Alabama, and Alabama would score 40 a game. I'll bet the game over, and then Alabama would win. 45-0. They'd play like Western Kentucky with those good quarterbacks. Like, where's my offense? Why didn't I score? Because the defensive line, and they just blitz you. They don't let you sit back and throw, and that's the problem. So Texas is not going to just sit back. So Texas State will have a problem there. Colorado State. Jim Moore, well, we know him. He's a good coach, UCLA, and he was really good at Connecticut last year. Quarterback, Henye. Let's see, from Germany. Price Tracy arriving. So they got a first-time offensive coordinator, Price Tracy from Connecticut, with Jim Mora, who was the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Oh my God! The biggest questions at quarterback were Oklahoma State transfer Hose Henye and UConn transfer Kazan Farrar are in a battle. So both these guys suck. So Colorado State's going to struggle, and they open with Wyoming. So they scored 18 a game, gave up 30. They aren't going to get any better. You can't just walk in with no experience at quarterback and be all that. Maybe 8 or 9 games into it, you get used to it. So they open with Wyoming. They're still in the Mountain West, so we got to get there. Southern Utah, that's Division II. BYU, look out. UTSA, look out. Oregon State, Texas State, and then the rest of the conference. They scored 18 a game, gave up 30. So Colorado State very near a Z team. Yes, Jim Mora will be an improvement. He's 75 and 53 in 10 years at UCLA and then at Connecticut. He did a good job at Connecticut, but it's going to take him a while, especially without the quarterback. And then we got Oregon State, Malik Murphy, who was at Texas, he was at Duke. Senior, he's in his 10th year already. Jamarcus Shepard at Oregon State in our first year. I don't know about this guy. New head coach Jamarcus Shepard arrives in Corvallis with Pac-12 title credentials as a former member of Kalen DeBoer's Washington staff. But that was all Kalen DeBoer. Shepard brings with him from Alabama. Oh, so this guy was a coach at Alabama and at Washington. Another former Husker staff, and Mitch Dowling, who is tasked with turning around the Oregon State offense. I don't know. Murphy's not really good. They scored 18 a game, gave up 29. They bring in a Alabama-Washington offensive coach, but DeBoer was the man. It's like the Belichick defensive coordinator who sucks because Belichick was the defensive coordinator. They scored 18 and gave up 30. I don't think that's getting better. They open at Houston, who's pretty good. Texas Tech, good luck. And then they got the conference. So tough first 2 games. I don't know this Alabama guy. That you're going out on a limb with that. All right, so that is your Pac-10 and your AAC. We'll be keeping an eye on the boys to see who's better than we think, who's worse than we think. Keep an eye on the injuries. We'll check the box scores. So week 1, I think we're eyeing Washington. A big highlight. Yeah, don't forget to bet Washington. And we will see. So this is how we now. I'll go through this again. Not with you, but I'll review, and then I go to my spreadsheet, which gives me notes on the coaches and the quarterbacks. And I've noted this guy, Washington assistant or Alabama assistant, and Washington assistant, but that doesn't mean he's Caleb DeBoer. He's not Caleb DeBoer. Caleb DeBoer is their offensive coordinator who runs the team. So he might pick up some stuff from him, but he had Penix, who was really good, and they haven't looked that good at Alabama, so we will see. All right. Now, let's see, an hour 54. We're going to go to Mark McGwire. So here's my point about Daria. She hasn't been on since yesterday at 3:30 in the afternoon. So after that and all day today, their VPN is not working. Let's go to Mark. So I told you Pepsi sales are down. It's like any other product. Sales are down because the demand's down. And why is the demand on Pepsi? Well, usually it's price. Usually there's another product. Maybe people are drinking water. And then maybe it's because their credit cards are getting maxed and they're just having water. Although I don't think that would be the case on Pepsi and Fritos and stuff like that. Let's go to Mark. All right. China targets LBMA. This is on yesterday. I'm not going to play all 44 minutes. I think we'd all be asleep.
If you are within 20 years of retirement, or if you're already retired, all of your hard-earned savings now could be in danger. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is a...
This may be one of the most bullish structural events.
Okay, listen to the intro, and then I'm going to take you to a few sections. The good news is we're still looking at gold, $7,000, $8,000, $12,000, which we've been looking at. That the key will be July 24th when China gets off of COMEX, and COMEX really won't have a choice but to price theirs. Otherwise, there'll be this huge arbitrage, which is, I'll buy gold off of COMEX for $4,000, and I'll go to China and get $10,000 for it. So COMEX will have to move it up to whatever China does, and we'll see what China goes. But if China's going to a physical market, and we're actually going to price it on the physical, and we're not going to look at COMEX, we can get a real price. If they keep looking at COMEX's price, we're not really going to get a real physical price. All right, Mark McGuire.
One of the most bullish structural events in gold market history.
They now have to keep printing or we crash.
We've got this ticking time.
And so, and just looking at these questions here, there's a lot of really good ones. Let's start by summing up July's action, though, as far as it reveals the gold buy signal that institutional central bank and sovereign buyers have been waiting for, which is China stepping in to shield the domestic speculators from the disruptive influence of massively leveraged Western-centric COMEX derivative sellers. To do this, the PBOC forced Chinese speculators into a sell-only mode, which is why we had noted that Shanghai spot was trading at a discount to London during the main sessions, which was most unusual. But into each fix, the tape flips and Shanghai snaps back to a premium at the AM and the PM. T+1 delivery fixes they are. And that is where the PBOC footprints are the clearest. Sharp premiums over London at the T+1 fixes was immediately followed by discounts snapping back once normal trading resumed. So the clues were all there. We kind of went through them last time, but completely unseen by the paper-centric Western market activity that we've been tracking. The PBOC remains the only visible source of consistent Chinese physical demand. Now, they've been accumulating gold in an extremely disciplined and a systematic manner. And as we said, 3 to 5 tons per day, every day. These footprints are most clearly reflected in the Shanghai fixed premiums versus London. Now, at the same time, 400-ounce London bars continue to be withdrawn from the system, partly to meet PBOC monetary gold demand and partly to support physical liquidity requirements following last Tuesday's trial launch of the Hong Kong Gold Exchange. Now, while no official launch date has been announced for this next in the series of SGE Gold Corridor Gateway rollouts, as we outlined last time, our well-connected liquidity providers are preparing for the next week's 24th of July trading bank shutdown of the remaining sell-only Chinese speculative accounts. And a lot of the swap dealers were having a difficulty getting out of those positions. And what it was doing was signaling that unencumbered physical liquidity is being readied for the next batch of 400-ounce bars moving from London to Hong Kong. This is all about China putting the yuan on the gold standard. Now, the timing really matters. The 24th of July closure date lines up with the SGE Connected Hong Kong Gold Clearing System full launch. That's not a coincidence. Now, we can absolutely be sure that the White House is watching this data very, very closely. And China now has the infrastructure required to challenge the entire COMEX LBMA price setting regime and effectively greenlight a global central bank revaluation event. This is a date to watch. Now, this may be one of the most bullish structural events in gold market history because it builds an Eastern clearing physical settlement pricing and delivery architecture outside the traditional London-New York axis. And because of that structure being in place, they've been able to control not only the price, but they've also been able to control diluting that price. By linking Hong Kong directly with the Shanghai Gold Exchange and expanding vault and a hugely expanding vault capacity, in collaboration with Bloomberg, launching of a regional HAU physical price, that's a price reference set in the physical exchange, in the Hong Kong Physical Exchange. What that does is price physically deliverable RMB futures contracts that exposes local London COMEX diluted XAU price references. And given that foreign exchange gold is actually NSFR compliant and T+1 deliverable at the London fixes, the HAU XAU arbitrage process will close that paper to physical gap far quicker than people can imagine. Now, the PBOC has also removed restrictions, and they're allowing gold for the first time ever to flow freely between Shanghai and Hong Kong, which is global facing, which makes this the most liquid global gold exchange. Like that, the HAU price enables institutional, physically deliverable over-the-counter settlement, which telegraphs that China is creating the plumbing for physical gold to be priced, financed, and mobilized in Asia, and then ultimately globally. Now, for gold and silver investors, the significance is it's not simply another trading venue, which many people have think, it's just one more trading venue, there's still going to be gains. No, it's not. It is the migration of gold's market structure towards the world's largest physical demand region. And as liquidity settlement and delivery increasingly shifts east, gold moves from being a Western paper priced asset to an Asian physical reserve asset, a regime change that supports higher prices, tighter available supply, and a sustained re-rating of gold's monetary role. And this ongoing draw.
So we've heard this. So are we actually going to get this physical price July 24th? We'll have to see what happens. It's positive for us because people with gold want a higher gold price like we do. COMEX is blowing up, but how much influence does America have on, well, you're still going to, like, in other words, so let's say China goes to 10,000 an ounce and COMEX is 4. What are we going to get at the cold store? 4,000 or 10,000? Or does COMEX have to go up to 10,000 because China's there? So China's going to be physical. It's going to have a real market, a physical market. Here's a bar and I'll pay for it. Just like when we go to the store, but the price will be set hopefully by China and hopefully for a physical price, not just the fact they're selling it physically. They're doing that now when we get a paper price. So hopefully we blow up the paper. That's the goal here. All right.
Down of local London physical liquidity has been largely obscured by the PBOC's clampdown on Chinese speculative positioning, which also triggered visible selling pressure on the global gold price because they were trading at a discount. Western derivative traders have been misreading that price weakness. They've been misreading it as a broader bearish signal rather than the PBOC's policy-driven flush of speculative length. So they were wrong-footed into adding unbacked COMEX shorts into what is actually a very bullish restructuring event. That the underlying LBMA 400-hour strain remains firmly in place, further constraining the LBMA COMEX credit capacity to even expand short futures exposure against what is a backdrop of tightening physical supply and rising T+1 delivery obligations. This is the collision point where leveraged LBMA CME paper positioning meets genuine physical demand. Central bank and sovereign buying have remained unwavering throughout this entire 3-month sell-off. We looked at it last time on the charts, and for institutional investors, this is the inflection point that they've been waiting for. And while mainstream commentators misread gold price weakness as bearish, the PBOC has effectively flushed out speculative open interest ahead of next week's institutional-facing Hong Kong SGE physical gold gateway expansion, now set to take its next step towards official launch and liquidity significantly improving. Now, this will open a broader, what is really a gradually accessible physical gateway into what is the rapidly expanding SGE gold corridor. We've been tracking it for an awful long time, and if that is going to go through, it is actually also extending through Singapore and the groundwork already underway to bring Africa, Saudi Arabia, and all of Latin America into this gateway, into this gold clearing gateway. So in anticipation, China has already established a yuan clearing footprint across every major global gold trading hub. A lot of traders will know this already. Already is that facility in place. This is all been strategic. China doesn't rush anything. But on the 24th, there will be no shorts left to clear. And that is left. And while most of them have been cleared out, some within the last week or two, swap dealers find that very difficult. So there's still some wait. I've been noticing the last couple of mornings this week, SGE is trading at a premium. Now, so basically, we're going to sum it up. While mainstream analysts are missing the point again, Beijing is positioning gold as part of the plumbing of a new financial architecture, one in which the RMB gains credibility through settlement networks, deeper collateral pools, and, of course, physical gold integration, rather than through a traditional reserve currency status, which is what everyone is saying that can't happen. They don't want it to happen. As a result, so the structural bid for physical gold is actually deepening. Now, for price, this means China's expansion of gold delivery, clearing, vaulting, and offshore RMB settlement infrastructure. What it's doing is reinforcing a long-term physical demand floor beneath an increasingly liquid physical market. It's also no coincidence that China now has 7 of the world's 10 biggest banks, with JP Morgan following in 5th place. The overseas expansion of China's banking sector is increasingly aligned with Beijing's broader strategic financial objectives, which is elevating the international role of the yuan. It's utilizing a gold-backed yuan, developing alternative cross-border financing infrastructure, and extending China's financial influence through a growing network of overseas banking operations. And as more bullion trading migrates towards Hong Kong and Shanghai, pricing power gradually moves closer to the largest physical buyers, tightening the link between Asian demand and global price discovery. So, to address our end of second half question, Shane, this is what is influencing how first-tier physical market liquidity providers are positioning for the second half of 2026. Now, in the larger picture, this is an integral component of building what is called Fortress China, a state preparing not just to deter future conflict with the US, but to function through prolonged crisis and extreme disruptions. Now, the Global Affairs article that is shown here presents a good take on how China has learned the lessons from the Russian and Iranian theaters to insulate itself from the dollar hegemons. Now, taking control of the global gold and silver markets is the bedrock of China, and it shows that China is building a national resilience system designed to absorb severe external shocks from sanctions, blockades, and supply chain collapse, all the way through to natural disasters.
All right, let's go to a few more.
Namely, the paper to physical breakpoint is moving closer, and the asymmetry is widening. Liquidity providers are already modeling at least a 40% physically driven rally into year end. At 100 to 1 leverage, the Fed has thrown everything at gold. Paper supply has been used to manufacture a well-telegraphed death cross, which is basically where the 50-day moving average crossed through the 200-day moving average. And that successfully baited and hooked the latest wave of naked shorts into this capitulative breach of central bank support at $4,000. Now, in a normal market, that setup might squeeze out another 3% of downside from the cross, which was at 39.66, likely targeting 38.50, which would have been that 3% move. But this is not a normal market. Every official sector buyer now sees gold weakness into dollar strength as an inventory accumulation opportunity. As we looked at a couple of weeks ago, the last comparable setup when we saw a cross like that was right here. And that was the 27th of September through to the 6th of October 2023, when gold was pushed down 3.4% from 1900 to 1835. Then came the snapback. On the 1st of December 2023, the golden cross triggered a 5.4% one-day surge from 2035 to 2144, before an 8% retracement into a perfect bounce on the 50-day moving average. I'm just trying to show you basically how synthetic this action is. Has nothing to do with physical supply and demand. The key point, though, taking that point, the entire synthetic 3-month wash and rinse cycle had set up a physically driven higher stair-step similar to the 184% rally triggered by the PBOC's March 2024 Shanghai Futures Exchange launch. Now let's look at the PBOC's footprints again. Into the end of June BIS squaring low, which was a 30% discount from 5,600 to 39.4175 spot gold, this wash and rinse cycle that we've been observing has reached another unfactored PBOC physical initiative, and this is 100% physically driven. And much as we saw from the Shanghai Futures Exchange launch into this bottoming action, it's set to blow shorts out of the water into what is actually a very wrong-footed shrinking pool of bearish open interest. Now, the launch of the physically determined HAU gold price will exceed the unfactored effect on price that the 184% Shanghai Futures Exchange rally had on gold, which was from here just to here. So from next week's liquid launch through to the end of 2027, liquidity providers assess a dollar gold price between 10,000 and 12,000 and 5,600 by the end of 2026.
Did that make any sense? They see 10 to 12,000, 5,600 by the end of 2026. I don't, if it's 10 to 12, how is it 56? Or is that another year down the road? It'll be much higher than 56 by the end of the year. That's for sure.
If not before. What is increasingly clear is that the mainstream narrative remains disconnected from gold's true drivers: leveraged cash-settled paper supply versus unleveraged physical demand. As a result, every price move is being retrofitted to the latest headline. And we can see that in the intraday action.
Anyway, so what he's saying is it's all bullshit because it's going down, but not because of anything has changed. There's plenty of demand. It's physical. It's limited. And that's the whole point of the paper physical. And that's what I keep saying. The price is paper is bullshit. It's not the real price. It's not going down for any reason but these options. That's why it doesn't matter who buys and sells. That is irrelevant because this is based on paper. So every time this Matt guy from Econ, he says, well, it's bullshit. That's paper. We don't care about paper. I got one more for you. Well, maybe we'll do that tomorrow.
To the bottoming action 3 weeks ago in gold, even as safe haven flows intensified and central bank and sovereign demand ramped up sharply, the mainstream explanation was that gold was selling off because of geopolitical escalations. Precisely the kind of narrative distortion the cash-settled COMEX structure was designed to obscure. Now, as physical demand overruns paper short supply now, that narrative has shown signs of flipping over the last few days. With gold, form fitted to be rising because of geopolitical escalations. The mainstream media is clueless. The migration of diluted local London price discovery into fully physically settled Hong Kong fixes should begin to expose this disconnect, allowing gold to reflect its true role as a safe haven monetary asset. The key takeaway, the 3-month synthetic washout, appears to have established the base for the subsequent physical-led stair-step rally that followed the PBOC's March 2024 Shanghai Futures Exchange intervention. Next week's full launch of the Hong Kong SGE Physical Gateway is coming from this level here, and it should provide a more balanced physics supply-demand reference price, one that increasingly challenges the two legacy local London fixes, which are becoming progressively less liquid. From a market structure perspective, this has the potential to be as significant and bullish as the original Shanghai Futures Exchange launch. Now, the PBOC footprint is back. After a Fed-engineered 3-month washout from 5,600 all the way down to 39.59 in futures, which was 39.28.54 in spot, gold is again approaching an underpriced PBOC physical initiative. Only this time the gateway is entirely physical. Shorts are exposed. Bearish open interest is shrinking. The next squeeze will be violent. And let's take a look at silver here. Again, as soon as London cleared the PM fix, what happens? The shorts come in. I mean, this is not going unnoticed. And what China is saying, you want to give me your dollars? Give me your gold? I'll give you dollars. Happily to do that. And that's exactly what's going on here. But the shorts are controlling the action. It's trading, silver's trading as a COMEX-led technical short rather than a clean physical supply demand market. The move is being driven through a synthetically diluted 100-to-1 Fibonacci range. And we can see this range that was established on the 26th of June. And basically, it's been ranging within there while the PBOC and Asian buyers are picking it up. And obviously, With the PBOC speculative account closes misread as weakness, further wrong-footing the remaining specs short-term, liquidity providers flag heavy buy stops above the 68.10.382.50, which is right here. Very large shorts are identified there, or short stops are identified there. And a break above there opens the door to a larger short stop rinse into the 63.73, this one here, 63.73, and that's the July range, basically. Obviously, it's one step at a time. But when the 100% leverage short silver bets by osmosis get priced in Hong Kong, the gap close into the 121.58 January highs will be the least of the short's problems. Now, for traders, the message is clear. This is no longer just a gold trade. China and Russia are moving toward gold-linked monetary frameworks that reduce dollar dependency. And it places a hard asset floor beneath the yuan and the ruble. Now, there'll be a fix that represents true physically settled supply-demand price. It's going to incentivize global institutions and commodity buyers to begin treating that exposure as credible collateral. That means you buy the ruble, you're getting gold. Buy the yuan, you're getting gold. It's exchangeable. The market will be forced to reprice not only gold, but the risk embedded across the dollar-based fiat system. Russia's gold convertible ruble really it's a push forward here. They've allied themselves with China. This is not a coincidence. It reinforces the setup. And for commodity buyers, ruble exposure becomes a cheaper proxy, really for gold-linked collateral right now. And it's driving dollar selling to fund that exposure. And this is the kind of flow that can tighten dollar liquidity, lifts metals pricing, and force a rapid repositioning across what is a gold-linked foreign exchange exposure. And as markets price China and Russia's shift back towards gold and linked monetary systems, and as physical gold migrates towards yuan ruble linked Hong Kong and expanding global SGE corridor, which is going global, the dollar-based paper system loses control of marginal prices. In that environment, synthetic dips become accumulation opportunities, with any failure by paper shorts to access physical supply triggering a disorderly upside repricing. That is imminent. We also look to India. Indian gold and silver demand is also showing up at the expense of US treasuries. India's silver import restrictions have tightened supply in the world's largest silver market. And it's pushed local premiums to their highest levels in 6 months, despite the softer than usual headline demand. And it is in accumulation. And from a trader's perspective, India's reduction in US Treasury exposure, alongside continued gold accumulation, reinforces the structural bid for bullion, and it signals ongoing central bank reserve diversification away from dollar debt. All these pieces are coming together, and into structural and technically oversold conditions, the underlying trade implication is supported of both gold and related silver on dips, particularly if geopolitical risk rises or confidence in the US dollar markets deteriorate, or both. So to kind of sum this up, a US gold revaluation would be the cleanest balance sheet response. So the US actually would not need to announce a classical gold standard. And like China, the US could instead move towards a gold liquidity narrative. Gold as a strategic reserve, asset, collateral support, or balance sheet stabilizer, rather than fixed price convertibility. This also creates a forced revaluation dynamic that we've just looked at. I mean, China's move would not merely raise the gold price, it would force the US to recognize that gold is again central to monetary trust. Both systems would be then compete to show stronger gold credibility, driving much, much higher gold reference prices. So this inevitable gold price reset leads to the other inevitable question. Are you positioned well ahead of this gold and silver price reset, whether it be by osmosis or triggering the reset?
All right, that wraps up another episode of Live from the. So again, we hear a lot, but we wait, and then July 24th. Okay, let's see what happens. Are we going to get a $10,000 price July 24th? I doubt it. It will go gold. I think we will see some action in COMEX. We're waiting for this big squeeze where everybody needs the physical and there isn't any out there, and that forces the price up. We've been waiting. It looks like they're done with this 3-month since the war, April, May, June bullshit price down, where I keep waiting for 4,500 gold to sell it. I did sell my half ounce earlier in the week at 40.60, and it really didn't matter to me. Had I got 43.60, I was only selling a half ounce, would have only have been $150. So I didn't. The key was to get basically the 2,000. So I got like 1,000 a quarter. It should have been at 5,000 would have been 12.50 a quarter ounce. So a couple $100. Yeah, but I only sold a half ounce. But I need the money. Like as August 1st approaches, I need some bills, and if I want to go to the casino, if I want to, there's birthdays, there's all this stuff where you need cash for. The casino is one of them where they need cash. That's why they'll never get rid of cash. The casino and the mob are way too into it. They don't want anything that stabilizes it, like credit cards. They don't take credit cards to the casino. I mean, you got to turn your money into cash. And so if you want to play poker, you want to play blackjack, you're giving them cash for chips, and then they give you cash back. So they don't want cash. So we'll never get rid of cash. They might come out with a new cash, but they'll never get rid of it from that standpoint because it's too volatile. I got to get my glasses. I don't know. I picked it up yesterday, and it's missing a piece. And I picked it up at Swim, and the thing came out, it's been in there for a while. So I got to go to the glass place and get it fixed again. And then I got a new pair that I got to order. I do have a new prescription. The scam, you need a new prescription every 2 years to get new glasses, which is a joke. Give me these or whatever. But the place I go for my prescription, they're very expensive. And so I don't buy the glasses there. I'll buy them somewhere else. But it is time to buy them. I've been waiting for the gold and everything. So I think it's time to buy now. And I don't have a choice because these are, the stick is coming out. It's a strange pair because they don't have the screws. So the thing came off and I can't screw it back in. It doesn't have a screw. So we will see. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Again, your baseball game today, your free play is Pittsburgh over 7.5. We went through the Pac-10 and the American Conference, the AAC, not the ACC. We did the ACC. We've done the Big 12. We did the Big 10, and we did the SEC. So those are on other videos. Pretty thorough through it. It's really, now we're getting into like the AAC, who's good? Tulane, probably not as good. UTSA should be explosive. Texas State looks explosive. And San Diego State with the big defense. And that's what you're trying to find out because year over year, the things change. It's not the same thing. So you have to understand that each year you're getting a different you're getting different teams, especially now. All the players move around, the coaches move around. Who do we got this year? And we can't really. Sometimes we can look at last year: Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, Georgia. But then there's some that, like Missouri, their quarterback went somewhere else, went to Florida or somewhere, and so he's on it. No, he didn't go to Florida. He went somewhere else. But again, that's what you're looking at is now, because you're betting the quarterback, the coach, the defense. So as they change coaches and as they change quarterbacks, now we got to figure out what do we got here. And some of them take a while. Then we get like a Washington could be the lock the first way. I don't know if it is. I got to look at the line, but that's the idea. Washington State's pretty bad. Washington. And so those are the games you bet on, are the teams you know, and then you be careful. So you go Big Ten, SEC picks first week, and you're keeping an eye on the Big 12, which is a mess. You're keeping an eye on this AAC, which is a mess. The Pac-10, we have an idea. AAC, and so you're keeping an eye on all that. And then you'll slowly get into it. And so first few weeks, we stick to the teams that haven't changed. And then the teams that have changed, we then figure them out. And again, you always are throwing out that Division II game, that high school game. If they win 63-0, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count. It's not a real game. Anyway, I think that be it. So tomorrow we will go through, who will we go through? Probably we've got the Sun Belt, the MAC. We've got the Sun Belt and the MAC and Conference USA. I think that's all we've got to go through. So we'll probably do the Sun Belt and the MAC and then leave Conference USA and an overall review for Sunday. Baseball's back. If you're buying, pay for the week. My college football, my guy's working on it. It shouldn't be. He's just changing the history to get it ready, and then he's just changing that one bowl thing because the bowls are obviously not on now. And so it's just, you want the month of college, it's 200, 300 if you want pro and college. And of course, anything you buy from me, you get the locks. If it's the week, if it's the month, if it's the whole year, you always get the locks, or you can just buy the locks by themselves. And, the locks are the games I just look. It's like baseball. Oh, here's a good matchup. I gave you a lock last week where it was Zach Wheeler against Skubal. And I said, that's a lock. That's going to be low scoring. It was. Philly won 5-0. Skubal left after 5 innings. What a loser Skubal is. Oh, my God. You hear on the radio here, they're talking, and it's just let them go. You're not going to trade for anybody unless you can get Skubal and a couple other guys and a couple picks for Mizorowski or Skanes. Forget about it. That's basically who you want, but they're winners and Skubal's a loser. So you just want to let him walk and then try to take the money and do free agent on Mizorowski or Skanes. Otherwise, there's nothing there. All right. So I think that's it. So have a good day. Again, Mark McGuire. This is yesterday, Central Bank Wars, Fortress, China targets LBMA. So we know China has the gold, and Russia and BRICS and Africa now. They're all coming out with gold standards because nobody trusts the dollar. And it's as simple as that. So if you want, the major concern is to get out of the dollar. That's the point. So you're getting out of the dollar. Nobody wants it. Nobody's using it. Trump is slowly making it worthless with all these wars and shooting all these missiles. And they don't have any missiles in the back. So I don't know what Trump's doing. He's killing the country, but I don't think he's this stupid. So he's doing it on purpose, which is even worse. And you just have big problems. So the U.S. is gone, but the U.S. they don't want to leave. It's like the party's over, but they don't want to leave the party. And so the dollar's gone, but they don't want to admit that it's gone. And so they don't want to do that. And that's really what's happening. So anyway, buy your gold and silver now. You got 1 week. I would not wait till July 24th and see what's happening. I would assume July 24th. It's gonna shoot up. People will ask for physical, and we'll see what China and Russia have in store. But they are the ones that own most of the gold. They want a higher gold price, especially with these wars going on. That's the only other thing I can think of is the U.S. is holding the price down because we don't want it. We don't want a higher gold price because Iran has gold, and Saudi's got gold, and Russia and China have gold. So they want to keep the price down from BRICS. It's the only thing I can think of. As long as they can control the price, which they can't anymore. So keep that in mind. Anyway, I think that's it. So www.teachingking.com. Thank you very much. Apologize for yesterday. Today, I didn't have any internet problems. The other day, I did an hour and a half, and it was really 25 minutes. And I had talked Big Ten and SEC in it, so I redid it. So there was nothing to miss, but I normally say goodbye and thank you, and it just cut off, but I was basically done. So apologize. I'm not going to come back for just to say goodbye and thank you, although it's the polite thing. It's too much to load it, and then you're going to watch, 2 minutes, and then I'm going to say goodbye and thank you. So goodbye and thank you from yesterday and for today. Anyway, have a good day. Relax. We got 1 more week. Hopefully we start seeing the real gold and silver price, the physical gold and silver price that we're waiting for. Most people don't get it. They think the price going down, like he said, it's geopolitical, it's this, it's that, and they're just missing the whole point, which is what I keep saying is you guys are idiots. You don't, not you, but they're idiots. They don't get it. Oh, it's profit taking. It's not. There's no fundamentally different. The dollar's still gone, and you need gold and silver because you can't print it. So it's a very simple get into the light boat and goodbye. So I don't get it. Anyway, have a good day. www.teacherking.com. You don't have to run and buy the football yet. I'd say middle of August. You might want to, if you're going to buy the year or the week, you might as well. There's no point in buying it now. There's no football going to be out there till October. If you want a private class, we can talk about that. I used to do that. I didn't get a lot of people. So at this point, I can do one. We'll figure out a fee for it. But basically, we'll go from there. But I try to teach a lot as I go through. Like I'm doing now, I'm teaching you what to look for college football. Pros, we don't need as much. There's not as much movement. Whatchamacallit, moved from Cleveland, the defensive end, Myles Garrett. So he moved. Okay, that's pretty easy. There's not a lot. It's mostly secondary players who move. Who cares? Stafford there, Mahomes there. The Seattle letting Kenneth Walker go is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And KC, look for them to be right there for the Super Bowl with Kenneth Walker and Mahomes. You got to be kidding me. You just set the table for him. Anyway, that's what's going on. So we'll keep our eye on gold, and we'll report back tomorrow. Have a good weekend, everybody. Have a good day. Be careful of these fires. It's I don't know how unhealthy it is. It smells like you're at a barbecue. I'm tempted to take a steak out and start cooking it, but that's really it. So please be careful. It's supposed to rain today, tomorrow, whatever, and hopefully that'll put out the fires and clean the system, and we'll have a blue sky again. It's so weird going out and it's a gray sky. It's so weird. All right. Have a good day, everybody.